Welcome to Agents of Nothing, an episode-by-episode recap and analysis from the perspectives of a veteran and a new recruit. And now, a quick word from our sponsors.
And welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We are your commanding officers, Mariah and Caroline, and today we are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 2, 084. Woo! We're doing a little bit of a change in the structure of our podcast. We're learning as we go. We're seeing what works. So essentially, Caroline's still going to do the episode rundown and give her thoughts, and I'm just going to interject with the notes and fun facts that I have. So it's going to be Caroline telling you a story and me info dumping on Caroline's story.
We love it.
So, 084 was written by the series showrunners Marissa Tancherowen, Jed Whedon, and Jeffrey Bell, and David Straighten directed this episode. So, Caroline, why don't you give us a rundown of the characters we meet?
Most of the characters in this episode are the same as the first episode, except we don't have Agent Hill, and we do meet one new character. Her name is Commandant Camilla Reyes. She is beautiful, she is badass, she's intimidating, she can seduce a man and kill him in the same sentence. She's basically a mythological siren, and we love that.
Incredible.
Here we go. Let's dive right in. First line, we're in the sky. We see a beautiful, gigantic plane. And we hear Coulson say, "It's blue skies from here on out." And then immediately an explosion blows out the side of the plane. Does every episode start with an explosion? Actually, don't answer that. It would be really funny, though.
I haven't taken note of that, so I think that we should keep a tally. Just every time an episode starts with an explosion, we mark it down.
Okay. So far, we're 2 for 2. So, a man flies out of the hole in the plane, not on purpose, he's falling. Is it Coulson? That would suck. He just came back from the dead. But we don't find out immediately. We flash back to 19 hours earlier, and Skye is giving up her van/home to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Valet, who starts her car using a pyramid magnet kind of thing that's stuck to her hood, and she says what we're all thinking, which is, where did they think of this stuff?
More weird and specific technology like we talked about in the last episode.
Then we cut to Ward complaining to everyone who will listen about having to work with Skye, and it's we get it, you're gonna fall in love with her later, so you have to insult her for a while first. It's all right, we can move on, man.
I have a lot of thoughts about Ward, but what I would like to note about this scene, Coulson refers to Skye as a consultant. That's her new role on the team. She's a consultant, which is how S.H.I.E.L.D. classified Tony Stark in Iron Man 2 and the Avengers. So I think that's an important detail, because Skye's computer skills are so good. She's on the level of someone as smart as Tony Stark.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we discussed the boobs boobily issue in the last episode, but right. Also she's pretty immediately established as someone worthy of respect and /or fear or caution. She's a risk. Bringing that around to Ward's bitching, I am so annoyed by the way that Ward is such a shit in this episode, and he simultaneously fears and demeans Skye, looks down upon her, thinks that she's inferior, and it's just so, oh my god.
Yes, exactly.
Insecure little man.
Exactly. We're gonna find out as we go on that most of my notes were about hating Ward, so.
I did not have this many strong feelings about him, really. When I was watching it, I was 18 at the time, and this whole, ooh, bad boy who only likes me.
Right.
That was the shit that I went for.
Except that, he's not even nice to her.
Yeah, but, at 18 years old, I'm oh, he's, marginally polite.
So attractive.
As a 27-year-old, I'm not fucking buying this shit.
No.
I hate it.
So then we cut to Fitzsimmons being the best, cutest little welcome crew ever for Skye as she arrives at her new job as a S.H.I.E.L.D. consultant, and we love them.
They're like the coworkers who are way too excited and friendly on your first day of work, you know?
Exactly.
Oh my god, welcome to the team. We're gonna be best friends. Over enthusiastic smiles.
The whole nine.
Full of energy, full of life.
So then we cut back over to Ward and Coulson giving us this episode's Here's What You Missed in order to tell us about what an 084 is that the team has been called to retrieve. And Ward says, we all know what 084 means. And Coulson says, yes, it means we don't know what it means. And we do actually get that definition later, which is an object of unknown origin.
So when he said the last 084 was a hammer, did you get what that was referencing?
Yeah, it was Mjolnir, right? From Thor. I understood that reference.
I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like that was Coulson's first real, like, he was in Iron Man and whatnot, but Coulson's first real, like, feature in a movie where he was, like, sort of a driving force was the Thor movie.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and so at the beginning he shows up and the hammer is in that crater.
Oh, okay.
It's like, hey, we've got a weird thing here, let's set up base. But I also love that Skye definitely thought that he was going to say she was the last 084.
Wait, I didn't even catch that. That's hilarious.
He was like, it's an object of unknown origin, like you. It could be a threat, could be something really cool. He was like, the last 084 was pretty interesting. And she was like, and what was the last 084? Like, tucking her hair behind her ear almost, like, oh my god, you don't have to talk about me like that.
I love that.
That's my interpretation of it, at least.
I agree. I didn't catch it that time, but I agree. Then we cut back to Fitz is still showing Skye around the plane, and he's so excited for them to be bunk neighbors, and I love him.
He's a little cutie pie. I don't know why my voice is going so high-pitched this episode, but this episode makes me so happy. This show makes me so happy.
Coulson is telling yet another coworker about how Tahiti is a magical place. Like, bro, we get it. You fucked your PT. Come on. But also, I feel like they're setting up for Tahiti to actually be magic. Like, I want a witch to be, like, living there or something. I think that would be awesome.
It would be.
Then we cut to the ground, and they have gone from their ridiculously fancy plane to, like, rinky-dink little SUVs, and they speed through the wilderness to their destination of an Incan archaeological site in Peru. And they park, and Ward gets out and says he needs to go investigate some very specifically sized tire tracks that he definitely personally saw from their own moving vehicle.
Okay. I think I have to burp. Hold on.
Okay. Whoa.
Definitely had to burp.
That was a good one.
Should I keep that in?
Maybe.
So the Peru setting was mostly filmed at the Los Angeles County, I never know how to pronounce this word, Arboretum?
Yeah.
Arboretum?
I would say Arboretum.
Arboretum and Botanic Garden. I was homeschooled, which has gardens dedicated to specific areas of the world, which I didn't know. That's really cool.
That is really cool.
And now I want to go there. And they did have some location shooting also occurring in Peru.
Man, they were really traveling the world for this show, huh?
Yeah, it makes me wonder. I'm not sure what the exact budget was for just the first season, but they did good.
I mean, Paris for the pilot episode and Peru for the second one? Damn.
That Marvel money.
So, like I said, Ward goes to investigate, and Fitzsimmons are, like, trading Peru facts, which was so cute.
They're so fucking cute. I have seen Two Pretty Best Friends. I know that you ain't never seen Two Pretty Best Friends. I have.
They haven't seen us, though.
But no, genuinely, their friendship is so cute. And I love that they established that it is like a strong friendship, that they really like love each other, and they establish it platonically first. And like, no spoilers, but you know, everyone knows.
We said it like in our trailer episode, like that was one of the one things that I actually did know about the show, is that they get together.
Probably because I talk about it so much.
All the time, constantly.
Oh my god, the amount of gift sets that I used to reblog on Tumblr of like just Fitzsimmons shipping things.
Right.
Like, I'm really surprised you don't know the whole fucking plot. Because like, I feel like I know a lot about Supernatural, and almost everything that I know about Supernatural is because of you and like the shit that you would reblog. And
well, I mean, I'm sure I saw all of it, but I don't remember it.
Retention.
Yeah.
We were talking about that. God, we would be so smart if we could remember things.
For real.
God, could you imagine? Like, I understand things. I just don't retain them.
Exactly. In one ear, out the other.
Could you imagine how smart I would be if I had a good memory?
It'd be amazing. We'd be geniuses.
Wow.
So, then Fitzsimmons and Skye enter the 500-year-old Incan temple, and they find a bomb, a camera, we don't know what it is. Skye goes to grab it, and I very much agreed with Fitz. Let's actually not touch the random object of unknown origin. Like, it's in the name. We don't need to touch that. We don't know where it's been. We don't know where it came from. We don't know where it's going. We don't know, Cotton Eye Joe. Fitz and Simmons determined that this could be like a millennium-old device of either alien technology or German. One of those. Could go either way.
Kind of one of those, is he gay or European situations. Could go either way. Hard to tell.
Right.
That was a Legally Blonde, the musical reference. For anyone who didn't know, I'm not being homophobic, I promise.
Ward is outside the temple talking with May while they keep watch, and naturally he pisses her off, as he does. And she apparently does not like being called the Cavalry. And I feel that. That sounds like an awful nickname. I would not want to be called that either. My note for that scene was, I'm going to just read it to you. Literally, why do I hate Ward and distrust every arrogant word that comes out of his mouth? I know the very next thing he does is casually find and take down a hidden army guy from behind the bush, but still. And then May takes down 2 single-handedly, so get the fuck out of here, Ward. It's handled. Then enter Commandant Camilla Reyes of the Peruvian police. And Coulson looks at her with a combination heart eyes and pure fear. She stops her men from kidnapping him, and they talk about why the 084 should belong to each of their organizations, respectively. And then we get back into the temple, and Simmons is determining that this thing is alive due to something called tempura radio, which this is when I realized that I forgot to turn on my captions and that they are not talking about Japanese deep frying techniques.
So on the IMDb fun facts page, there was like a section called goofs or something, and they were pointing out like, you know, continuity errors in shots and things Fitzsimmons say that weren't technically like scientifically accurate, but like, who cares? It's a superhero show.
It doesn't need to be real.
Like, honestly, it really annoyed me. It was so nitpicky, which, you know, I guess is a sign of a good episode. If those are, like, the most glaring mistakes that you can see is that Fitz worded something wrong. A scientist wouldn't really call it that. I don't know. Stupid. Don't overthink it, I say as I am overthinking this show as a job.
Right.
Not a job, but a hobby, at least.
As a hobby.
Could be a job, maybe.
Could be a job. Then Ward and Skye are talking about the recent protesting and like rebel uprising in Peru. And my note literally says, literally fuck off, Ward, you fascist anti-protest worm.
I have a lot to say about that I will definitely bring up later.
We'll get to it. Ward continues to be rude to Skye for literally just being there. Like, bro, sorry she accepted a job that was literally offered to her. Didn't know that wasn't allowed. All of a sudden, the group is under attack by supposedly the rebel troops, and the temple is like shaking. So Ward just grabs this unidentified alive object and then doesn't even want to carry it himself. He straps it onto Fitz's back. That coward.
This scene's so stressful.
Then we get to see Coulson and Reyes doing like a cool little circle shoot moment. And then May saves the day with the getaway car.
I left you in a motel bar, put the money in the bag and the store.
Kiss, that was the last time you ever saw me. Anyway.
Okay.
Can
you tell we're Swifties? Okay.
Oh, okay. Then we all get back to the plane in the nick of time, and in a very non-American government move, they allow the refugees, Commandant Reyes and her guys, asylum as well on their plane. Once everything settles down on the plane, Fitzsimmons discovers that the 084 is a little baby Tesseract bomb / fuel cell.
So that's what was so stressful about the scene where Ward just fucking grabs it. It's not so much that they, like, discover it as they reveal it. Like, they knew. Just no one was listening to them. It was so frustrating. Like, obviously, if Fitz is, like, he's obviously trying to tell you that it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That is very obvious from... I'm autistic, and I still got that. Like, obviously, something is wrong. Obviously... Like, he's screaming at you in fear, and you're like, I don't understand you, so it's not important. Like, dude.
It was ridiculous.
This is, this episode is the official Ward hate fest.
It is. And we're going to keep it going. So we cut over to the cockpit where Coulson is trying to apologize to May for her having been in the line of fire when that was literally her one stipulation about being pulled out of retirement. And May gives him nothing. She has had one single line in this episode so far, and yet I've learned so much about her.
It's such great character building. And I really, like, I forget that this is like a storyline that's going to go on for quite a few seasons. To me, it's really satisfying, and I forget that they, like, start building it up from the jump. And that's really impressive to me.
I love May. Then we cut back to the plane lab, and Ward is in a fight with Fitz, which, like, how? Like, Fitz is a perfect little baby genius, and he knows everything. And, like, you don't need to fight with him. He's literally...
Stay away from me and my son. Don't talk to me or my son ever again. This is my sweet baby child.
Get away from him.
I love him. Do not yell at him.
And Ward is giving the classic, like, jock scientist to the nerd scientist, even though they're both scientists, line of, like, English, please. And, like, he actually says, I use normal English like run and duck and cover. And Fitz, the genius that he is, comes back with, oh, wow, Agent Ward, you managed to string 3 words together in a sentence. Love that.
So good. Honestly, I know that, like, they're, like, trying to set up the character like this, and, like, he's supposed to be unlikable in these first few episodes, I think. And if he's not...
Whoa.
But I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be unlikable. And the thing that really annoys me in real life and in TV shows is the in English.
Yeah.
They are speaking English. You just don't understand them.
You can ask for clarification, but...
It's all coming around to Ward being an insecure little man because...
Literally.
He's afraid of Skye, so he has to put her down. He doesn't understand Fitzsimmons, so he has to put them down. It all comes back to Ward just having some deep-seated fucking issues.
Right. Like, go to therapy, you little worm.
If there's any occupation that should definitely have, like, mandated therapy sessions or, like, have that as a benefit, it's secret agent work, probably.
For real.
You kind of go through some shit. You gotta process some things.
Let's do it. Let's go to therapy.
Let's go to therapy, secret agents.
So, In their group therapy, Fitz, Simmons, Skye, and Ward all are like yelling at each other. And Coulson comes in as the group therapist and gives us some like character facts, which are: Ward, you speak 6 languages. Simmons, you have 2 PhDs, which, how old is she again?
I don't even know at this point.
I thought you said she was like 23 or something, like 2 PhDs? Oh my God.
That's a lot of years of study.
Yeah.
Unless she like condensed it all, which, God, I don't know.
But that was crazy. And Fitz is literally a rocket scientist. And then Skye is good at stuff too, which, you know, we have to include her.
I love the Fitz, you are a rocket scientist line.
Yeah. Somehow, this gets them to stop fighting for the moment, long enough to determine that the 084 is a weapon, which, like, duh. So Skye and Ward have a heart-to-heart because he's finally not being a turd for a second.
The one thing that I noticed about it, well, not the one thing, but one of the things that I noticed about this scene is Skye dresses exactly how I dressed in 2013.
Yes, the best.
And it's one of those things where it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Because I am the kind of person who, when I am obsessed with something, I make it my whole personality.
Yeah.
And I was very much obsessed with this show in 2013. It's like, did I dress like that because I dressed like that? And that was just like the style in 2013, which it was. Or did I dress like that because Skye dressed like that?
Who could say? So they're having their heart-to-heart, and they start talking about the Peruvian uprising again, and Skye has a much more optimistic view than he does and gives us the following inspirational gem. Usually, one person doesn't have the solution, but 100 people with 1% of the solution, that'll get it done. And I love that.
That's one of my favorite quotes. Like, it's a really good sentiment, and also like vaguely leftist.
Yeah.
And like, so that is something that like I really wanted to mention and call out, because in this scene, like, Skye sort of has a line where she's like, you know, I've never been in a war zone during a war. And like, I don't know, that struck me as weird, because I feel like they're trying to paint Skye as this like privileged, out of touch leftist activist, even though she was literally homeless. No spoilers, but she hasn't had the best life.
Right.
It's kind of one of those like theory versus praxis things where it's like, yeah, you know about how all these systems work, but someone who has been a victim of the system has lived experience, and they're going to have a different, honestly, probably more informed take than you do. Someone who has been fucked over by the system so many times is going to have a better idea of how to fix that system than you do when you have only read, like, theory about it.
Yeah.
And Ward just thinks he knows everything.
Of course he does.
I don't know. It's just weird. It gives me, like, propaganda vibes, and I love this show. Genuinely, I love this show. I love Marvel. I love the MCU. We all know that the MCU, they have a lot of contracts with the United States Army and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to be able to take a step back from media that you enjoy and acknowledge the biases behind it and be able to call it out and still appreciate the storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. From that very serious topic, we cut to Coulson and Reyes flirting in his office and, like, reminiscing. And we learn that they fucked. Coulson, you minx. Oh! And we also learn that Coulson is a little hopeless romantic, just like me.
I thought that it was so cute that he's, like, a little collector nerd.
Yeah.
And also, like, they sort of confirm that Coulson and Reyes had, like, a fling back in the day. I wanted to get an idea of, like, what Coulson might have looked like during that time. And I realize that I have never seen anything that Clark Gregg has been in outside of the MCU. And so I Googled young Clark Gregg. And let me just tell you, not that he's not a very handsome man today, but young Clark Gregg, I get it.
Holy shit.
I sent Caroline some pictures. I get it.
He could get it.
I get it. I understand. I get it.
Oh, man. Oh my god. Okay, we need to move on. Whew.
I hope that Clark doesn't listen to this.
Oh god.
I'm not taking it
I
back.
didn't. Okay, I meant it.
Okay, I know that you have, like, daughters close to my age, but don't make it weird.
We'll talk about it with them, too. Never mind.
I know that laugh just, like, exploded my microphone. Oh my god. I am aware of my audio issues, you guys. I am trying to find a way to fix it. And I think at this point the only way to fix it is to get a better mic. But your girl's broke. Anyways.
So, like we said, they're flirting. And then, Reyes' tone changes.
I love Coulson's like, whoa, dude. You're coming on way too strong. What's going on? What's happening here? This is not you.
And so we find out that she's the villain and that her men were perfectly placed to take over the plane. So they gas the pop.
They gas the pop kit.
The pop kit.
They gas the
They gas the cockpit and make Agent. Hang on, I'm gonna say it again so I'm not laughing.
Okay.
They gas the cockpit and make Agent May pass out, and I will kill them for touching her. And then they go to the lab, and holy shit, the scalpel to Fitz's throat is, like, super not necessary. Have you seen him?
He's a little
He's tiny.
baby.
Like, get your hands off him and Simmons right now. We have a problem.
They're babies.
Little tiny babies. Get away from them. Reyes reveals to a tied-up Coulson that the Peruvian police actually commissioned the German Tesseract bomb in, like, a ploy to get revenge on S.H.I.E.L.D. or something.
Okay. This is where the info dump is coming in, because I got so excited about this. Oh my god, I got so excited about this. So,
lay it on me.
The Tesseract energy that the 084 is powered by obviously comes from the Tesseract. And that played a huge part in Captain America, the First Avenger, and the Avengers movie. It also plays a role in Thor. It's in, like, Odin's vault. And ends up being, like, a big part of the Infinity Saga. So, like, this is a really important thing in the MCU. And so, in Captain America, the First Avenger, we established that Hydra is, like, a scientific subset of Nazi Germany. And so, like, Hydra is Nazis. Nazis, Hydra, same thing. If you're Hydra, you're a Nazi. So, Hydra/Nazis had control of the Tesseract and Tesseract energy in Captain America the First Avenger. And that's kind of like the last thing. In, like, when he goes down with the plane, the Tesseract falls into the ocean, blah, 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 all that. And then they, like, recover it, do stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways.
They do stuff.
So, like, Camilla mentions that Nazis, after the war, hid out in Peru.
Oh.
And, that's a real thing that happened in history. So, some Hydra/Nazi scientists came to Peru, and the Peruvian government commissioned this weapon. And so, like, that's a cool connection there. And then also, in Thor, we established that it's like a Norse thing, like the Tesseract is kind of from, like, Norse myths and things like that, at least in this universe. The Tesseract, I'm getting too close to the microphone because I'm getting so excited, was like a container vessel for the Space Stone, which is one of the 6 Infinity Stones. Obviously, the role that it plays in the Infinity Saga, because it holds the Space Stone. The Tesseract! That's all. Goodbye.
It's really cool.
I don't know, like, that's why the MCU is so cool. Like, I will defend the MCU to the death because it is not just superhero movies.
Right.
Like, it's genuinely so cool. And I know that I'm a nerd. I might be cringe for that. But I get some people find it annoying that you have to watch almost all of the movies to really get what's going on. But I love that kind of storytelling. Like, I prefer TV shows to movies, to be quite honest. I love the storytelling that you can only get with TV shows. And the MCU almost mimics that in a movie franchise.
That's true.
And I love that. That's so much content for me to, like, overthink about. I love that shit.
I never thought about that it's like, that it does kind of mimic that in a movie franchise. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and like for, you know, maybe younger audiences or audiences that didn't get into it from the beginning, it can be very intimidating to, like, if you want to start watching, you have to kind of watch all of them. There's already this big library that you have to consume to know what's going on, but I feel like it's worth it. The MCU, in my opinion, I mean, I'm not a very, like, discriminatory reviewer. Like, usually I think almost everything is good. Like, I'm pretty easy to please, but in my opinion, like, it's worth it. The MCU only has a few clunkers for me, and most of the clunkers are just because I have complicated feelings about Chris Pratt.
Agreed. Then we cut to Fitzsimmons, Skye, and Ward are all, like, bound against the cargo gate, and May appears to be unconscious next to them. But she wakes up when Ward is telling everyone that she used to be called the Cavalry in order to say her second line of the episode, which was, "I thought I told you to never to call me that." Come on, man.
It's so easy to... I don't know how else to word this. It's so easy to, like, obey someone's wishes about what they want to be called. Like, she's obviously not fucking kidding about this.
Clearly.
She genuinely doesn't want to be called that. Obviously it bothers her.
You can just say that she was, like, really good.
I mean, maybe you can think that, like, oh, she's just being modest. But, like...
We don't...
No.
Yeah.
No.
We can just respect what people tell us.
Even if she is just being modest, it obviously makes her uncomfortable.
Anyway, so that pissed me off. They all discuss, like, the hopelessness of their situation, and then Ward repeats Skye's much-needed and very hopeful consultant wisdom about the Peruvian rebels' teamwork. And May apparently has, like, a detachable wrist or something and gets out of her bonds, and then the team learns to work together.
She, like, dislocated her wrist.
I hate that. That's disgusting.
It's so... I don't know, there's something about the crack when she, like, puts it back into place.
I can't even think about it.
It's so visceral.
I'm gonna throw up.
I really, really loved this scene where they're working together and figuring it all out. Yeah. The montage. The pilot was obviously the introduction to the show. But I feel like this episode is a really strong second episode. It really lays the groundwork for the series, like, going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, just the hopeful montage with the theme song,
yeah.
It makes my heart swell every time. I feel like my heart is going to burst. I literally was tearing up during this montage.
Oh my god.
I'm like, this show means so much to me. And so, actually, one of the fun facts, the composer, named Bear McCreary, great name.
Love that name.
Love your name. He had a larger orchestra to work with on this episode than he did with the pilot. So that let him compose, like, a much more traditional, grandiose, Marvel-type, you know, action movie score.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, that really lends itself to the, like, heart-swelling nature of it. You're like, oh my god, it's really happening.
It's really happening.
And he also opted to expand his synthesizer use to be beefier and more aggressive. Which...
Yeah, you can definitely really feel that.
Oh, okay. You can. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but
yeah,
for sure.
The musician, you know. So the team is working together, and so the first thing they do is they blow up the Tesseract bomb, and that catches us up to the moment that the episode opened on. And it was not, in fact, Coulson who flew out of the hole in the plane, but one of the Peruvian police officers.
Thank God.
Right. We don't need them.
Can you imagine if they brought this fucking character back from the dead, marketed this whole show around him, like, oh my God, hashtag Coulson lives, and then they kill him off in the second episode? Could you fucking imagine?
That would be so funny.
Iconic. It's like the what's Boner? Ralph Boner from WandaVision. It's like the Ralph Boner reveal in WandaVision. God, so fucking disappointing. Like, you built this up. Jesus Christ. Why would you do this?
So it's not Coulson who's flying out of the plane. Coulson does save Reyes from flying out of the plane by tying her to a pole. Which, okay.
To want you to experience that drop. Actually, I'm doing you a favor by tying you to this pole. You should thank me.
Some weird foreplay, but okay.
Oh my God, I'm ugly laughing in this episode.
I'm obsessed. I love being this funny. So then May is awesome, obviously. And she just, like, kills people.
Boom, boom, boom.
Well, she doesn't kill them, but, you know.
She very seriously injures them.
And easily.
Injures and or maims.
Yes. So, also, Skye saves Ward with a blow-up pool because she actually reads the safety pamphlet, which is why you should always read the safety pamphlet on your airplanes.
She's so smart.
Then the scene is ended with Coulson punching the last conscious Peruvian police dude with, like, the fakest punch I've ever seen on TV.
So, like, this sequence with the hole blown in the side of the bus, it was actually all filmed in one day.
Ooh.
Which, it seems like a very complicated scene, so that's impressive.
Yeah.
The final shot utilized stunts and wire work, rigged explosives, wind machines, green screen filming.
Dang.
So, like, that's a lot of moving parts to be shot in one day. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's a huge budget for the second episode, too.
Yeah.
So we go through our fake punch, and then we cut to a classified location called the Slingshot. And now we're complimenting Ward, I guess. I don't agree with that, but whatever. Ward is like, oh, actually, it was everybody's idea, with his, like, little fake humble brag. And then Fitz is like, yeah, it was quite genius, actually. And I love that line.
He's so cute. I love him.
Look, me too. So then Fitz and Simmons are telling everyone where exactly on the sun the Tesseract bomb is going to be, like, slingshot. And Ward gives us another, like, guys, English. And, like, shut up, dude. Like, it's going into the sun. That's what they said. If that's all you wanted to know, that's all you had to listen to. Then Skye gets a little text from the Rising Tide asking if she still wants to work with them. And she, like, very cryptically writes back, I'm in. She's a little double agent. Like, okay, girl.
All right.
You do you.
So, like, before the text from the Rising Tide comes in, this scene, this was just my note. I'm going to read it out. This team, the Sweet Bus Kids, their relationship, oof, my heart. Oh my God, I just love them.
They're so cute.
Watching this show over from the beginning is always, like, I can't describe it in any way other than, like, it makes my heart want to burst. Like, I love this show so much.
Yeah.
It means so much to me, and I love these characters, and I feel like I know them.
No. So that's kind of the end. And then in the classic Marvel post-content, Nick Fury shows up, and he is furious with Coulson for his plane being blown up and tells them that they're not allowed to have a fish tank. And I feel like they're definitely going to have a fish tank, because that's a shitty thing to say. How dare you? They can have a fish tank if they want a fish tank.
Let them have a fish tank.
Come on.
A lot of this scene was scripted but Clark Gregg actually ad-libbed the line about the fish tank.
Oh, really? Where he, like, called them?
He was like, that's a no on the fish tank, or whatever. They do this from time to time. Like, I love how some of the episodes have an after-credit scene, just like the MCU movies.
Yeah.
With, like, cameos, and it's generally, like, a jokier tone than the rest of the content.
I loved it.
It's cute. It's cute. I love it. It's consistent. The executive producer, Jeff Loeb, he said that there were a lot of places that they thought that Nick Fury would have had a big impact in the show. And then they kind of settled on a cameo in this episode as a way to kind of, like, legitimize the show. Like, this is a real Marvel thing. See, it's connected.
Right.
Side note, I just found out in looking up these fun facts that the L in Samuel L. Jackson's name stands for Leroy.
Does it really? That's awesome.
I feel like Samuel Jackson is such, like, a strong name.
Yeah.
You know, like, it really fits him. But there's something about the name Leroy. I'm sorry if your name is Leroy, but it's just inherently funny to me.
It's a good name.
It's a funny name. Sorry if your name is Leroy.
We love your name.
Your name is funny. No shade. It's just a funny name, and that's a good thing. So, what did you think about the episode, Caroline?
Well, I liked it overall. I think clearly I really hate Ward. I still really feel like he's going to be a villain. Like, I feel like they set us up to hate him so that they could give him a redemption and, like, he's going to, like, prove his loyalty over and over again. But I still think he's going to betray everyone and, like, be a villain.
I feel like I hate Ward more on this rewatch.
Oh, really?
And, like, I don't know if it's just because I'm looking at it more closely than I have in the past, or because, like, I'm older now and looking at it through a new lens. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, the last time I watched was, like, 2020.
Okay.
That was my last rewatch.
I also get the feeling that Skye is, like, being set up to betray everyone. And that makes a little bit more sense to me because, like, she's, like, agreeing to work with the organization that she was, like, originally choosing to work with because she didn't trust a government entity, and now she works for that government entity. So I feel like that one makes more sense, but I feel like she's not going to. I feel like she's not going to betray everybody. Like, they're going to think that she does, and they're going to be mad at her for a while, but I feel like she's going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that I didn't like about this episode was that everybody who, like, has some kind of title, every agent and, like, officer or whatever, they all get referred to by their last name, but they kept referring to Commandant Reyes as Camilla, and that bugged me, so that's why I called her Reyes in the whole summary.
It's not important that she's a high-ranking officer. It's important that she's the hot lady that Coulson did the do with.
Oh, and I also wanted to say one more time that I love Agent May.
Yes.
That's it. Okay.
That's valid. This is surprising to me. This is actually the lowest rated episode of the whole series, like, as of October 2020.
Really?
Yeah, which, like, is surprising because I thought it was a really strong episode, and maybe that's because I watch it and, like, see it in retrospect, having seen the whole series, but, like, I don't know, this feels really strong. This feels like it's setting up a lot of, like, great things to come.
I feel like that really says a lot about how good the rest of the episodes are, if this is, like, the worst rated one.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. So that's the end of our episode on 084.
Woo!
I feel like this was a really good episode. I'm excited about this one. I hope you all like it if you've listened this far.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you listening. So if you want to keep up with us, get updates, you can follow us on TikTok at Agents of Nothing Podcast, on Twitter at Agent Nothing Pod, because Agents of Nothing was already taken.
We're going to fight
You're
them.
on my list. I know it's not your fault. You couldn't have predicted that we needed that name, but also,
we're going to get you.
I'm watching you. You can also go to anchor.fm/Agents of Nothing and send us a voice message with your thoughts. And if we get enough listeners, you can actually donate to us.
Ooh.
And again, we're not begging, but we wouldn't turn it down. This is just a hobby for us, so You can also email us your thoughts to agentsofnothingpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear, like, any theories that you have or things that you notice.
Yes.
Keep in mind that Caroline has not seen the show, so if you have any spoilers, please put a spoiler warning before them, and I will screen the email.
Yeah, I won't look at those.
If you want to keep up with us individually, me, Mariah, you can find me on Twitter at FullSwampWitch_, on TikTok at Submarine Warfare, and on Instagram at Submarine Warfare.
And you can follow me, Caroline, on Twitter at RustyPage95, on Instagram at _RustyPage, or on TikTok at CrazyGinger995.
Tune in next week. That's all. That's the episode.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Love you.